says there, when a person dies, then the dust will return to the earth as it was, and the spirit will return to God who gave it. So you'll notice that when a person dies, it says that the body returns to the dust, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. But now I'm going to ask you a question that perhaps nobody has asked you before. What happens with the self-identity or with the character that we formed during our lifespan? For example, what happened to the 930 years of self-identity that Adam formed, or the character that Adam formed during 930 years when he died? You say, well, Pastor, that's kind of a strange question. I'm asking that question for a very specific purpose, as you're going to see as we study along. The fact is, folks, that the self-identity of Adam was actually recorded by God in heaven as Adam lived his 930-year life. In fact, our self-identity is written by God in heavenly books as we live every moment of every day. So when Adam died, all of the record of his life was preserved in the heavenly records. In other words, God had an exact, perfect record of Adam in his heavenly books. And you say, does the Bible teach such a thing? Well, let's read several verses that speak about what is contained in the books. You see, God keeps records in heaven. He keeps an exact record of who I was during my life, who Adam was during his life. Notice 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 10. 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that each one may receive the things done in the body according to what he has done, whether good or bad. Let me ask you, does God keep a record of the good and bad things that we performed while we were alive? Yes. And we all must appear before the judgment seat of Christ. So our actions are recorded in God's heavenly books. Now what about our words? Notice Matthew chapter 12 and verses 36 and 37. Matthew 12, 36 and 37. Here Jesus is speaking and he says, but I say to you that for every idle word men may speak, they will give account of it in the day of judgment. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. Is a record of our words kept in God's heavenly records? Absolutely, because by our words we will be justified, or by our words we will be condemned. But I want you to notice that also our secret things are written there. You see, God has a record not only of the outside, He has a record of the inside. In other words, notice Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verses 13 and 14. Ecclesiastes 12 verses 13 and 14. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is man's all. For God will bring every work into judgment. If God is going to bring every work into judgment, must He have a record of every work? Of course. It says, God will bring every work into judgment, and now notice this, including every what? Every secret thing, whether good or evil.